What is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Zamir back at it again with yet another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Raiders joint practice between the Raiders and the Niners. Now, definitely it was great to be over there. I was actually over there, got to see the vibes and everything. We got a lot of Raider fans. It was actually jam-packed today. We got a couple of Niner fans there as well, but we don't care about them. I would just say that the energy was kind of at an all-time high. Pete Carroll was coming out. He was running all over the field. Then we got to see Max Crosby come out, kind of hype up the crowd before practice actually started, and all of this before our matchup on Saturday. Now, before I do talk about some of the things I took away from training camp today, if this is the very first time you guys are coming across the channel and you love Raiders content, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. First things first though, Pete Carroll has announced that the Raiders starters will for sure be playing in this game. Now, we don't know how long they're going to be playing, but I'm kind of expecting them to play at least one drive, and I'm just excited to see that because we know last week against the Seattle Seahawks, our offense didn't really look that great. Our starting offense, of course, Ashton Jeanty didn't look that great. Geno Smith didn't really look that great, but we barely got to see them, so I'm not worried about that. But going into this game at home in Allegiant Stadium, the very first game of the season, I can't believe that football season is already here. But the fact that the Raider fans are going to be in attendance, I'm really going to be looking forward to those guys stepping up in this game. Now, let's talk about Ashton Jeanty, of course, our first pick that we had in this year's draft. I know last week he didn't really have that big of a game, only 3 carries for -1 yards, and I know that there's a lot of people out there really overreacting to that. But today, I will definitely say that Ashton Jeanty looked a lot better, especially during the 11-on-11 scrimmage. He broke off for a huge touchdown, which had the Raider Nation kind of going crazy out there. And it was great to see him bust one open, pause, against an opposing team. And this was actually early on in the scrimmage. So, it's great to see that the Raiders are making big plays and Ashton Jeanty's looking a little bit better out there. But it's one thing to do it in practice, and it's another thing to do it when game day does come around. So hopefully we can see that in Allegiant Stadium and we could go wild like, ah. But Geno also showed a little bit of love to Ashton Jeanty with the big play that he had today, saying that Jeanty is on track to being a great player, and it showed in today's joint practice.
I think Ashton, today he made a play, I won't mention it, but it was something we did yesterday, and he was like, we didn't really get it right, and then today he came out, we got it perfect. And I thought, man, we took a big jump just from yesterday to today, and to see that from a rookie player, he learns and he grows with every single experience. I think that's something that's going to make him so much of a great player because he's getting better by day. And so I thought Ashton did a great job as always, but he definitely took another step and another jump today.
Now, another player that I do want to highlight was wide receiver Trey Tucker. Now, Trey Tucker, I would definitely say, started off pretty slow. Now, on the one-on-one drills, he actually looked pretty good out there. Mouse Joe caught a nice little route and catch from Trey Tucker early on. But I will say he made up for it later on, making some big catches and hauling in a huge touchdown play. Now, he wasn't the only guy that got a lot of love today because our red zone offense looked really good. Geno Smith was feeling himself today. He had multiple touchdowns in the red zone. One to Brock Bowers, another one to Trey Tucker, another one to Jacoby Myers, and heck, even Ashton Jeanty. And when asked, Geno Smith basically said that, it feels great to get touchdowns.
Man, it's great to score touchdowns, right? We want to score touchdowns, and I think obviously, there's some things that we can improve on. There's a lot of things that we left out there, things that we have to get better at. But overall, man, I thought I was very pleased with how we competed today, and I thought, like you said, man, we hit some long touchdowns, and we got some plays, on their guys. We were all competing, and it felt really good to see that.
And of course, knowing the history with this offense, we have been struggling for the past couple of years. I know, again, it's just practice. And I fell to the hype last week going into the game thinking that we were going to go score a lot of points. But I feel like moving forward, especially getting the jitters out the way with the last game that we had, we should look a lot better going into this game. And I do see this offense looking really good offensively, scoring a lot of points. We got a lot of weapons over here, like I stated earlier. Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Ashton Jeanty. We got a plethora of weapons over here. So of course, I know in preseason we're running basic plays, vanilla plays. So I just hope that we see a lot more touchdowns when the regular season does come around. Now, I will say that it also did help that Joey Bosa wasn't on the defensive line today for the San Francisco 49ers, and the offensive line took advantage of that because they looked really sharp today, and Geno Smith just seemed like he had a lot of time in the pocket to, go through his reads. And like I said last week, the offensive line is going to be a huge reason to if the Raiders do good or not. Now moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Trent Williams Of course, one of the best offensive tackles in the league did not participate in scrimmages, so we didn't really get to see Max Crosby go head to head with him. But I will say that Max Crosby definitely took advantage of that and really was giving the Niners offensive line a hard time. Heck, he got to Brock Purdy on one of them that could have been a sack in real life. Heck, even Tyree Wilson looked pretty good playing at the defensive tackle position, and he also got to Brock Purdy as well. So it was great to see that they took advantage of that. Now, who knows if that would be the same case if Trent Williams was playing or not. It's just good to see some of our players out there make some plays, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Max Crosby spoke on Tyree Wilson's improvement going into the season, and he basically said that he wants the best for him. And honestly, I feel like we all want the best for Tyree Wilson. If he can flourish at the defensive tackle position, then it'll only help guys like Max Crosby, Malcolm Koonce, and even Adam Butler on the defensive line.
Yeah, you know, he's getting better and better. And, you know, his approach, his work ethic, everything is, you know, continued to improve since he's gotten here. So, yeah, he's a guy I feel like, you know, since day one, I've taken under my wing. I've given him some tough love, but, you know, I want the best for him, and I want him to be the best version of himself, and that's my, you know, duty as a leader. And, you know, me and him have gotten real close. I just want him to continue going in that direction. There's going to be adversity, there's going to be ups and downs, but you just got to keep going up. And that's what I feel like he's doing, and, you know, the more you can do, the better. So him rushing inside, outside, he's going to have an opportunity to help us for sure.
That said, though, even though I am praising the defensive line and Max Crosby getting to the quarterback and giving the offensive line a lot of trouble, Brock Purdy did look good out there against our defense. He basically was torching our defense. According to a report, the 49ers offense was making a lot of big plays against the Raiders today. Purdy split the safeties for a deep Pearsall touchdown. Braden Willis hauled in a deep corner, and CMC has been involved in the downfield passing game. Purdy did score a couple of other touchdowns on our defensive secondary, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward. I just hope that we could clean it up once game day does come around, and reports are saying that Brock Purdy is expected to play a little bit this week. We don't know how much, but it's going to be a good test for our secondary to see if they can stop him or at least cause some turnovers. Now, I will say that overall, today's joint practice was evenly matched. Both sides played well. I feel like the Raiders started off a little bit slow early on, but they were able to get better as the day went on.
I love getting a challenge like that. Like Coach Shanahan, earlier in practice, I felt like, you know, kind of let me be alone for a little bit, and I was doing my thing. And then as the practice went on, it made it a little more difficult. And I love that because that's what it's going to be like. I know that's, you know, the respect I've earned in this league, and that's a part of the respect, you know, factor that goes into it. So. Yeah, it was a great day though. It was a lot of fun. We got better, and I feel like as the day went on, we got better and better.
And according to Levi Edwards, the Raiders defense has been really good against the run today. However, they struggled against the 49ers quick game on screens. That being said, just off of today's practice, I will say that the offense looked really good and the defense still needs some work. I know we caused a lot of pressure here and there on the defensive line, but if we want to win a lot of games this year, we're going to have to put a lot of points if the defense can't hold up. That being said, Raider Nation, what are your thoughts on today's joint practice? Any other takeaways that you guys had? What players are you guys looking forward to watching in this weekend's matchup? And will you guys be there? Let me know down in the comments below, man. Today was a good day. I actually got to meet the Big Ooze Locky Tossie for the very first time. Shout out to my guy Gavin, man. I was able to go behind the scenes and just go say what's up to a lot of those guys. Lecky Fotu, Antonio Mafi, Jonah Laolu, Jesse Sapolu. I also got to chop it up with Baron Davis, who actually watches the channel. So shout out to Baron Davis, and I'm excited to see what he can do as the Raiders' new host. And keep a lookout, Raider Nation. You know, I got to talk to Baron Davis a lot, and we could be linking up on a couple of content and even doing some shows on the channel just for you guys, man. So shout out to the Big Ooze and shout out to the rest of the Raiders, man. Also, shout out to El Jefe, Mark Davis. I ran into him at In and Out after practice, so it was cool to chop it up with him yet again. But with all that being said, I'm just excited for game day on Saturday. So until then, this is your boy Zamir Raider, and your boy is, yeah.